Well, to start, my first campaign platform would be to defend the banks. No, I mean, think about it. You have predators, and the predators have missiles, and I have a list of everybody that's annoyed me or screwed me for the last 74 years. Congress is really something you just have to have on your side if you're going to accomplish major things. And the ways you get Congress to work for you, which is the ways you deal with your family. You bribe them, you say to your kid, no, you really say to your kid, clean your room or you don't get your allowance. That's a bribe, I'm sorry. That is what you do. Curfews, yeah. Or you threaten them. If you don't do this, no television. Or you beg them, please, your mother's going to give you more shit if you don't clean your room. or you try to reason with them. Maybe you'll find $2 under your clothes that are piled in the corner. But that's the way you deal with people. And you deal with organizations. That's the way every big organization runs. It's going to be a better day than that. But today I have a chance of working with you, and just remember you work for when you ask these questions.
She told me in the car, it's like, ask me anything you want, but I'm going to answer the way I want to answer. So we're clear. So based on you guys have a lot of money in the game, you're looking for money to work. How many of you feel like this political election cycle is very scary to you? Okay, so not as many as I would have thought.
So a 2016 speech that Mike Bloomberg gave at Goldman Sachs, actually at Yankee Stadium, has surfaced. And I think it's very telling. This is one of the ways that the corporations buy off these politicians, is with these well-paid speaking arrangements. And it's just basically bribery out in the open. More damning comments made by Mike Bloomberg, Democratic presidential hopeful. Take a listen.
Please join me in welcoming Michael Bloomberg, Alex.
All right, so first, I want to take a quick poll. Be honest. How many of you would have voted for Michael Bloomberg if he ran for president this year? And this isn't even counting the seats in the back. So, Mike,
These are my peeps.
These are your peeps. Why did you not run?
Well, to start, my first campaign platform would be to defend the banks. You know how well that's going to sell in this country. But seriously, somebody's got to stand up and do it. We need a healthy banking system that's willing to take risks, because that's what creates the jobs for everybody. And nobody's willing to say that. The trouble is, these campaigns in this day and age really are about slogans and not about issues anymore. And in this election, you're going to see people are voting. They either love or hate, mostly hate both, but who you hate the least, that's what they're going to vote for, and they're not going to vote on issues. I was going to run. I came very close. We had lawyers in all 50 states. We had storefronts in Texas to use to get petitions signed to get on the ballots. We had commercials written. I thought I would know enough about every issue to be able to handle myself in a debate. But the bottom line is, the best we could ever hope for would be to get a third of the electoral votes. And the way the Constitution is written, if nobody has a majority, it goes to the House of Representatives to pick the president, and the Senate to pick the vice president, and the House would have picked the Republican, because they're in the Republican hands and will probably still be after this next election. And to turn to be the Democrats, they pick the Democratic candidate, but an independent has no chance unless you really could make the case that you're going to get 50% of the electoral votes. And since virtually all states, with the exception of Nebraska and Maine, are winner-take-all, there's just no chance of you getting 50%.
So clearly, you give that a lot of mathematical thought.
Would have been a great job.
Did you?
No, I mean, think about it. You have predators, and the predators have missiles, and I have a list of everybody that's annoyed me or screwed me for the last 74 years.
If it had been a different lineup, if you had felt it would have been a Sanders-Trump situation, would you?
We always thought it would be Trump, Hillary, and in the end, that would be the combination I would want to run again, because both have very high negatives. But it just turns out that in an election, what would be the dynamics would be, I like Mike, but he's not going to win, therefore I've got to vote for the lesser of two evils. And that's what happens all the time in these three contested elections in the third place.
Do you regret not running them?
No,
After you've seen over the last couple months?
Literally, as God is my witness, I've never looked back. Yeah, you can't do everything. I mean, I do regret that I didn't bet a lot of money on the Yankees losing last night. But, I did wear pinstripes, as close as I could come today. I actually didn't think about that when I got dressed, but it fits in here. No, I don't regret. I just never look back. There's a lot of things to do. I've been very lucky. I've had 2 bad days in my life, the day my father died, the day my mother died. And short of that, tomorrow's going to be a better day than today. But today I have a chance of working with you, and just remember you work for when you ask these questions.
She told me in the car, it's like, ask me anything you want, but I'm going to answer the way I want to answer. So we're clear. So when you take a look at politics now, I mean, you know Donald Trump, you've known Hillary Clinton. I mean, what's your take on where we are in this political landscape? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think that both candidates are very polarizing. If Hillary were elected, it's hard to see how the Republican Congress, assuming there still is one, would work with her any better than working with Obama. And if Trump were elected, it's really hard to see a Democratic Senate, which are likely to have, or even one with Republicans have a slight majority working with Donald Trump. Congress is really something you just have to have on your side if you're going to accomplish major things. And the ways you get Congress to work for you is the ways you deal with your family. You bribe them, you say to your kid, no, you really say to your kid, clean your room or you don't get your allowance. That's a bribe, I'm sorry, that is what you do. Curfews, yeah. Or you threaten them, if you don't do this, no television. Or you beg them, please, your mother's going to give you more shit if you don't clean your room. or you try to reason with them. Maybe you'll find $2 under your clothes that are piled in the corner. But that's the way you deal with people. And you deal with organizations. That's the way every big organization runs. People want recognition, respect, and you flatter some, and you penalize others, and you move them around, and you fund things. And we've taken away some of that with these member items. It used to be that in Congress they had a certain amount of money, and they would bribe each legislator to vote for the important things. We got rid of that, and now it's so fractured it's hard to get anything through Congress. But the President of the United States still has a convening power and a image, importance, so that if the President called you up and said, come and play golf with me on Saturday, I don't care how much I hate the President, most people would do it. If the President of the United States sent flowers to your spouse, or a bottle of scotch if your spouse happens to be male, and at their birthday, what are you going to do? Call him an asshole? No, you can't do that. I have that son, he has some nerve to send you flowers. Yeah, well, you didn't send me flowers. So, that's it's a ways to get, you got to build a relationship, and you have to manage people, and that, I think, Clinton loved doing that, and Obama really does not like doing that. And I think we need a president with executive experience who will know how to do that.
Based on you guys have a lot of money in the game, you're the get some money to work. How many of you feel like this political election cycle is very scary to you? Okay, so not as many as I would have thought. It seems like it's just so polarizing right now, and there is no move to the center. But we've always been polarized, right? We've always had two-party systems. Yeah. But why do you feel like now it's such a cinder box?
I've been thinking a lot about that. I think there's a couple things that are going on. One is technology, because technology is eliminating an enormous number of jobs and will continue to do it. It's a real societal problem. One is social media, because you can get inundated with so much information, you know less than ever before. You don't know who's talking, and you don't know. If you think about it, Plato talked in the forum, and he was one of the rich, powerful guys. And then somebody invented paper, and so he could get his message out further. And then Gutenberg came along, so he could put his message on the door of every church. And then eventually Andrew Morse and Marconi and Bell Labs RCA with television. But from Plato to television, it's all one way, and you knew who was talking. And so you could make a judgment as to whether they had credibility or you want to follow them. Along comes social media, and it fundamentally, I know this time it's different, but this time maybe it really is different. It's two ways. So everybody has a say, which we never had before in the history of the world. And you don't know who's talking. So, you can take Oliver Stone as a historian, or, in 140 characters, we can deal with a complex subject. So it really, and that may be exacerbating the left and right around the world. We also have better transportation, so you have immigrant groups. Europe is being very destabilized by the refugees and immigrants, hard to tell which, out of the Middle East, and that's changing things.
So the other topic of mine, of course, is in Orlando, the terrible shooting are a huge common sense gun control proponent. From the
doesn't
outside,
think it's common sense, but okay.
from the outside, you can make the argument, it doesn't feel like things are getting done. It doesn't feel like they're getting better when we keep having headline after headline of these mass shootings. You're on the inside. Do you feel that?
There are 19 states that, well, let me step back. There's a federal law that says in gun sales through gun stores, of which there are 50,000 gun stores in America, and to put that in perspective, there's only 15,000 McDonald's hamburger joints, okay? So it's a lot of gun stores. They have to do a background check. It's done automatically. You type in the name and it comes back, whatever. And most of them do. We've done sting operations. Most of them follow the law. The databases aren't that good because some states don't put in the names of everybody that's crazy from their state or everybody that's been convicted of murder in their state. But fundamentally, it seems to work. So that's the federal level. The trouble is, when that law was written, there were not gun show sales and internet sales, both of which are designed to avoid the background check and to get you a gun instantly. So the question is, what happens if you get background checks? And there are 19 states that have it. 2 more potentially, Nevada and Maine, have it on the ballot in November. And that would represent roughly half the population in the United States. And in those states, what's happened? That the suicide rate with guns is half the national average. And the other methods of suicide have not gone up. And the reason that's important is suicide tends to be, the psychiatrist will tell you something that you do it instantaneously. I want to kill myself. And I want to use a gun. Can't get a gun? Shit, I'll go to the movies and I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow. No, I mean, think about it. You have predators, and the predators have missiles, and I have a list of everybody that's annoyed me or screwed me for the last 74 years. Congress is really something you just have to have on your side if you're going to accomplish major things. And the ways you get Congress to work for you, which is the ways you deal with your family. You bribe them, you say to your kid, no, you really say to your kid, to clean your room or you don't get your allowance. That's a bribe, I'm sorry, that is what you do. Curfews, or you threaten them, if you don't do this, no television. Or you beg them, please, your mother's going to give you more shit if you don't clean your room. or you try to reason with them, maybe you'll find $2 under your clothes that are piled in the corner, but that's the way you deal with people. And you deal with organizations. That's the way, every big organization runs. It's going to be a better day than that. But today I have a chance of working with you, and just remember you work for when you ask these questions.
She told me in the car, it's like, ask me anything you want, but I'm going to answer the way I want to answer. So just so we're clear. So, based on you guys, you guys have a lot of money in the game, you're looking for money to work. How many of you feel like this political election cycle is very scary to you? Okay, so not as many as I would have thought.
Well, to start, my first campaign platform would be to defend the banks.